My name is Marisa Stone with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit, where you learn all about the systems that our speakers use to get things done. Today, I am super excited to have KM Johnson here to talk to you all about scheduling your business. This is super, super important for those of you who really don't have a good schedule down yet. Stick around because we're going to dive into that. So let me tell you a little bit about KM. KM is your visionary leader, as well as the CEO and founder of KM Johnson International, a coaching and consulting firm that specializes in teaching entrepreneurs and business leaders how to do life, business, and faith by design. She is an internationally known motivational speaker, consultant, author, minister, entrepreneur. Wow. She has served as an officer in the U.S. Army, held a position of business operations manager for a Fortune 500 company, and owned 2 successful businesses, all while running her ministry. And today, she's going to talk with us about how she keeps up with all this via scheduling her business. Welcome, KM. It is so exciting to have you here.
Hi, thank you for having me, Marissa.
I am super excited to dive into this topic. So let's just begin at the beginning. What do you mean by scheduling your business?
Well, I mean, we schedule everything in our lives. We plan our days. We schedule our kids' events. If you have children, you schedule, when you do a lot of planning, you do a lot of scheduling, but a lot of times we forget to schedule our business. We forget to put those systems in place that are going to help our business run successfully. Wow.
Yeah. So how is scheduling different than planning?
Well, think about it. When you plan, you're just kind of making a list of ideas that you have. You're saying, okay, this is what I would like to see happen, and this is the time frame I'd like to see it happen in. But usually that's general when you're planning, right? But when scheduling, you're putting it down in ink, so to speak, or you're putting it down digitally and saying, this is solid. This is not going to change. This is what's going to happen during this block of time.
Right. So it's more like implementing the plans you have made. The schedule
Yes.
allows you to implement. Okay, that's cool. Okay. So, a lot of entrepreneurs are going to have this going on in their head. Why is a business schedule something that we need to consider as entrepreneurs? I mean, can't I just have my to-do list and get up and just, start on my to-do list every day?
Well, let me ask you a question. How many items on your to-do list that you have personally for today have you completed so far?
Probably 10.
Did you complete them by just going down your to-do list, crossing it off and saying, this is what I need to do. Okay, I'm going to go do this right now. And then crossing it off. Or did you, before your day even began, sit down and say, this is what, based off of my to-do list, this is what I'm going to accomplish?
Yeah, definitely the latter. My Asana has absolutely blown up. That's the tool I use to keep Marisa's brain in check, right? And it's exactly blown up with responsibilities regarding this summit. So yeah, totally. I've definitely checked and rechecked and continually gone back and forth between that and my to-do list that's right in front of my face every day.
So the scheduling portion of it is just that. It's taking that to-do list a step further. It's saying, okay, this is what I need to get done, but this is when and how I'm going to get it done.
Right. Got you. Okay. So we understand the importance of having a calendar and a schedule, but let's talk a little bit about an actual scheduling system. One of the things that you teach your clients to do is to create an actual system of putting things in this schedule. What does that look like? I mean, I assume that you have to be a little bit flexible with that, but what does it mean to create and then recreate this schedule?
So for me, what I do, for example, is I have certain days that I do. I know a lot of business owners have planning days.
Right.
But not just, a day of planning, but I have it broken down to, these are the days that I do particular activities. These are the days that I do particular events, business or non-business related. And then this is the tool that I use for each of them. So it takes a little work at the beginning. Obviously, it's not going to be something that is just going to happen for 5 minutes and you're done. But setting up all the tools and systems at the very beginning, it makes it run a little bit smoother after that. But So let's, for instance, on Mondays is my planning day. Mondays, I take a look at my calendar and see what all I have on my schedule.
Right.
Then I know that every month I have a bigger calendar, and you can't see it from here, but I have a bigger calendar that I chart out, and I say all of the types of events and activities that I want to participate in throughout the month. Right. And then I go through each of my week and I schedule accordingly. Now, they have to be business related and they have to fit into a time period. I know I only want to work. I hope I'm not talking.
Oh, no. This is great. No, this is great.
But I know I only want to work so many hours a week and so many hours a day in my business. Right. But I want to get the most out of that time that I'm putting into it. So when I schedule it out, it's not just planning. So my to-do list started with me saying, this is what I want to accomplish for the month. Right. But now my scheduling happens when I'm saying, this is how I'm going to accomplish it and when I'm going to accomplish it. And not just on the days, weeks, or that period of the month, but also down to the hour. Okay. I schedule my lunch into my calendar.
Okay.
Not because I'm going to forget to eat necessarily, but because there has to be time to eat. And if it's not in your schedule, we have a tendency to take appointments and so forth and so on. And then we overlook that time period. And then, like you just pointed at yourself, you've forgotten to eat. Yeah. So, but that shouldn't, be your business time, right? That should be your time to replenish yourself, refuel yourself so that you can go forward in what you're trying to do. So the scheduling portion for me comes into finding a system that works for you. And there's two parts, and I know I'm talking
That's okay.
a little bit quickly, but finding the system that works for you at the beginning to kind of set up that structure. Right. So you're setting up a structure to take that planning, that to-do list. You're taking the to-do list, you're planning it out, and then you're scheduling your time so that it can be more succinct and you meet each of the goals that you have for yourself.
Right, right. So this leads me into kind of my next question. I read somewhere that you should fit your work into your lifestyle, not vice versa. And you're basically advocating that using this schedule allows you to do that. Planning in your lunch hour, perhaps planning. One of the things that I've done at the beginning of, I guess, this quarter was planned in my exercise routine because it would be very sporadic before, right? And now I want it, set first on my calendar. So what you're advocating for here is really using this ability to schedule your business so that your work fits into your lifestyle. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I first started business, this is about 10 years ago. When I first started my business, I was like, trying to do what normal people would do in the corporate world, 8 o'clock, 8 to 5 or whatnot, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever. And it wasn't working because as an entrepreneur, and I do a lot of digital online, entrepreneurship, and I travel a lot, it didn't fit. That's not what I wanted. And how can you talk about the freedom of being an entrepreneur when you're stuck into this time frame that you don't necessarily want? Right. Then I started realizing, well, if I made it look, if I made it a little bit more fun and like you said, added in my exercise and so forth, then that would make it more this freedom lifestyle that I'm trying to look for. So yes, don't fit your lifestyle around your work, put your work around your lifestyle, because therefore you're going to always be working and not have a great lifestyle. You're going to forget about your family, forget about your friends. You're not going to have any fun. You're going to lose yourself. And then this work that you left your job for to finally get out there and do, you're not going to want to do anymore because it's become so much work. Right. And so like you, what I do, honestly, and people laugh because my husband's always saying, oh, I wish I had a job like yours, because I'll be at luncheons and I'll be, or I'll be at events and so forth, but they're all with a purpose. Right. And some of the events are, some of the events I may be speaking at, some of the events I may just be there to help out a friend or, whatever the case may be, but it's something that I plan for. Because remember what I said at the beginning, that I choose how many I would like to attend that are business related. Right. And then I just make it fun throughout the day. I schedule in, my pedicures and my, my manicures, but that's me time. I might dip off to the movies for an hour and a half in the middle of the day, but that doesn't mean that I didn't spend 4 or 5 hours working. Right. So if you're scheduling it, it means that you are accomplishing the tasks that you know are necessary in order for your business to thrive, grow, and move forward. But you're also having the time to spend for yourself and enjoy that lifestyle that you're trying to create for yourself as an entrepreneur.
Right. It would also make sense to me that after you've scheduled it with yourself and you've put a hard deadline on it, it makes it a lot easier to accomplish it, in my opinion. I mean, I think, I talk a lot with my clients about accountability. It's really hard to hold yourself accountable as an entrepreneur because guess what? You're only answering to one person. Well, if you also have that added layer of that schedule and it's on my calendar and, this is something that I need to accomplish because it fits into this bigger goal, I can totally see how that's going to help keep you accountable to what you've said you want to do. Yeah, very cool. So you started mentioning some of this, as an entrepreneur, it's a little bit difficult to communicate the boundaries that we've built, right? We are in this because we're passionate about what we do. We want to share our knowledge or skills or whatever with the world. And we don't want to do it in this corporate box, right? So do you have any tips to share for other people who are really working hard to kind of get buy-in about their schedule from loved ones, family members, friends, whomever else is around you going, really? That's not a real job.
Well, sometimes you just have to be really, hard with them. I told my husband constantly at the very beginning when, because I had my business before he and I got married. Right. And so I had to let him know just because I'm at home doesn't mean I'm not working. Right. And so there's a time period that I start my work. So I need you to understand that this is when I begin working. And even if it's my working, I might have social media time for the first hour of my day. Just because you see on social media doesn't mean I'm just playing. I'm not on here just, reading people's posts and trying to see what's going on in their lives. No, this is actually part of my business. Right. And so, part of it, I think, which helped with my husband and I was to have him understand a little bit more of what it is that I was doing. Sometimes you have to kind of not assume that the people in your life that are supporting you know what you're doing, even though they shake their head yes, and they say they support you, and they probably do, and they love you and they care, but they don't have a clue what it is that you do. And so you've got to take that time out to kind of say, hey, this is what I do. I know what it looks like to you, but let me just explain a little bit. And I involved my husband in some of the activities. Now he understands fully. So because he's involved in some of the activities, he can go on and say, oh, I saw your Facebook post today and so and this, and this. So he's more active. That, he understands. He knows what's happening, in that part of my world. Right. But it's also the boundaries of saying that these are my time periods that I'm really focused on this. Again, I have a unique situation. My husband is overseas. And so there's a time difference. And so I told him, I said, well, these are the times that I've allowed in my schedule to talk with you on the phone for hours upon end. Right. But then after that, I have to work, or I have to sleep or, whatever the case may be. And it was hard for me to do that because you don't want to disappoint people or push them away or make them think that, your business is more important. But they'll never know the importance of it until you yourself explain, believe the importance of it.
Right. And that's a great point. I think that it's very, very important to hold your own business and the things that you're doing inside your business as top priority for yourself. When your partner or your other family member goes off to work, they're not allowed to hang out on their phone talking to you. They're not allowed to just leave work at all odd hours of the day. They're not allowed to do some of those things. And you need to hold those same things valuable in your own business. So I'm glad that you shared that with people. You guys heard it here.
I've even made the comment before to people that my boss is going to fire me if I don't get back to work and get this done.
Exactly.
And that's pretty bad when my boss is me. Right.
Well, I think we can fire ourselves.
We can.
Yeah. Okay. So, and this kind of leads us into another part, right? Is, the whole time, issue and time management issue. sometimes as an entrepreneur, I feel as though I don't have time for one more thing on my to-do list. What are your thoughts? Like how can I maximize my time while building this schedule so that I can get everything that I'm trying to get done accomplished?
Well, that's a hard lesson I had to learn, which was, being able to say no to the things that you really just can't do, and knowing what's on your schedule that is really not beneficial. So remember earlier I was saying, like, whatever I know, like I determine which events I'm going to attend based off of how it's going to benefit my business goals for the month. It all has to fit towards, I always use the saying, everything you do should point toward the vision.
Right.
So that one more thing that comes along doesn't point toward the vision, then say no. Right. If it does, then figure out what you can move around.
Right.
In my life, I've learned that, we make room for whatever we really want to make room for.
Yes.
So if you know that it points towards your vision, that it's going to further the vision that you have for your company, your business, then you figure out how to move those things around the schedule. That's what makes that scheduling important. Because if you didn't have the schedule and it was just part of your to-do list, then you would seem a little overwhelmed and say, well, I need to do all these things. They're on my to-do list. Right. But if you actually have it planned out and you can look at this, and you've got the scheduling going, and you're saying, okay, I've scheduled these types of events for this week, or these activities for this week, these tasks for that week. Where can I fit in this one more thing? It'll be easy to you because you can just look at it, from at a glance and say, oh, I can make this happen. I can do this. Or, you know what? My month is packed. It's full.
Right. And I really like that you, that some of the things that you do, you keep saying you add fun back into your day. And no, I love that actually, because you actually take the time to combine those two things. So you're working, but you're also enjoying yourself. And I really like the fact that you're doing that in everything that you're scheduling into your business, because why in the world does somebody want to be, in this whole corporate environment, stuck in a cubicle, or in the entrepreneurship world, stuck in front of your computer, and you're not really enjoying yourself? That's not designing the life that you dreamed of. Right. So I love that you're stressing that. So I know we're going to take a much, much deeper dive in the next interview, but is there anything else that we need to know right now about scheduling our business?
I would just say that once you have a system for, obviously, creating your to-do list, and then making your plan and your planning system, then it's starting to look for the tools that work best for you. Right. So, not everyone works well with pen and paper. Not everyone works well with, Google Calendar.
Right.
But finding those tools that work best for you. And then, as we'll talk later, finding the other tools that will work together with those tools that will sync it all, into one. It's really important to do this, take the time out to make it happen. I know a lot of people who don't plan, don't schedule, who aren't used to doing that. And unfortunately, it doesn't lead to success when you don't. And so even if it's something that you're not used to, it's foreign to you, I would definitely recommend still taking that time out to try to explore it and make it happen for you.
Right. Absolutely. No, I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. So before we let you go, how can people reach out to you if they want to access some of the resources that you have, perhaps work with you? How can they reach out to you?
Well, definitely check out the links below. And then Google me, kmjohnsondavis.com is my website. But just Google my name. I am all over the internet, I'm sure. And you can find great information there. And I would love to work with you.
Very cool. Thank you so much, KM. I really, really appreciate everything you've shared today. This has been fantastic. Guys, click on the links below. Take advantage of the resources that KM is sharing with you today. Take into consideration some of what she's saying about scheduling your business and get your system set up so that you can be that successful entrepreneur that you've always dreamed of. For those of you that are part of the All Access Pass, stick around because we're going to dive so much deeper into scheduling your business with KM in just a few minutes. And for everyone else, thank you so much for being a part of the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit. We will see you all in the next interview. Bye, everyone.